What it do? Welcome to the J-Boy Sports Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the content. If you don't love the content, you can still do those things because you could always help a brother out, and you know a brother would always help you out. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our fantastical content. Also, you want to make sure that you comment because I guarantee you I will reply. Ball is life. You know how we do around here. And lastly, hang on towards the end for some other great suggested videos that we know you will love. With that said, let's jump right into it. Michael Irvin is an energy god. He's going to give you his honest opinion 24/7, whether you like it or not. That's just how he rolls. And I have to say, you know, people respect that. That's why we like the man. So let's check out what he had to say about the top 5 NFL receivers of all time.
Top 5 wide receivers of all time.
I get people all the time talking about this. I always tell people, you know, I think Jerry Rice is the greatest player of all time. I think Jerry Rice is the greatest receiver of all time. But as soon as you finish with that Ian Rice, you better start with the M and Michael. That's what I'm talking about.
So Jerry won, you too.
I'm gonna go. You talk physically gifted or actually play what they did on the field? Because physically gifted, you start looking at a Megatron, you start looking at an Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson, I look at, when I'm in the Hall of Fame, I look around and see Jerry Rice, I see his quarterbacks. I'm in there with my quarterback. Mm-hmm. You know, I can see Sterling Sharp, I see Brett Favre. I look at Andre Johnson and I'm like, damn, how'd you get in this room? His quarterbacks ain't coming. Mm-hmm. You see, those are different kind of dudes right there. Andre Johnson got in this room and his quarterback is known, his nickname is the Pick Six. That dude is, when you talking about physically gifted dude. Now you talk about results in physical gifts, then you gotta put in a Randy Moss, that size, that big. I'm gonna tell you a guy I love, one of my top 5 all time is Andre Reed.
Andre Reed, cool.
Nobody going, you know, put Andre Reed. I'm throwing Andre Reed.
He was a big receiver too.
Right there. Andre Reed was the bad man, inside, outside, prior to what they got out and what they're doing now. So Jerry Rice, I'm putting me in there. I'm gonna go bad boy. Andre Johnson was such a bad boy, just a bad boy. But I'll go Randy Moss, Andre Reed, and you put T.O. in. I put T.O.'s in it.
So that was Michael Irvin dropping some facts about the top 5 receivers in his mind. And, you know, honestly, I got to tell you, his list is pretty good and actually hit me with one that I wasn't expecting. So, and I mean, his list was kind of like top 7-ish, but he put Jerry Rice as one, obviously. And he said Jerry Rice is the best football player he's ever seen. He didn't just say receiver, he said football player. And I think you can make the argument for Jerry. For some reason, I feel like people don't talk about Jerry Rice as much as they used to. I don't really know why, but he like, to me, he should almost be up there with like the Michael Jordans of the world, but people don't talk about him like they talk about Mike. And I don't really know why, but he was like that, man. Like, I remember when I was a kid, when I was still like in middle school, like going into high school-ish, I think definitely still in middle. I don't know if he was still playing when I was in high school, but I was in middle school. Jerry Rice was still playing. And he was like 30, he was like late 30s, maybe 40s, tearing people up on the Raiders, I think, at that time. I think I saw him on Seattle. I saw him on the Raiders. He didn't play for everybody. And everywhere he went, he was getting his numbers. And Jerry is arguably the greatest football player of all time. He mentioned himself. And listen, you can say what you want about Michael Irvin. You could talk about his numbers. But at the end of the day, even if his numbers don't stack up to some of these other people, if you take a look at him, they called him a playmaker for a reason. And they won the Super Bowl 3 times. Imagine that you're so good that the Cowboys actually won underneath you, because Cowboys can't win anything. They've sucked for the last 30 years. You can't tell their fans nothing. They're mad cocky and prideful and low-key short bus-ish. But, you know, some of my best friends are Cowboys fans, and they, you know, some of the more normal ones now are starting to be less delusional, but you still got a lot of delusional Cowboys fans out there that have no idea what's going on out here in the world. And unfortunately, they can't seem to get right. They can't seem to get right. And Michael Irvin was the last time they were right, and that was like 30 years ago. So, and they called him a playmaker, right? He made big plays when they needed him. And that really shows you how great of a player you are. When you can get all the numbers when it's easy, that's cool. But he made them when it mattered. And then he mentioned Andre Reed, who was interesting. I didn't expect him to say that, but Andre Reed was a big wide receiver. He played on the Buffalo Bills team that went to the Super Bowl like 4 times in a row and couldn't win, which is insane. And I think they lost 3 of those to the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, Mike Irvin was sitting on the other side thinking to himself, like, this guy's a bad boy, but I'm going to be better. So you got to give him credit there that he took that, you know, he did what he had to do against somebody that was on par with him at the time. And Andre Reed is a 7-time Pro Bowler, went to the Super Bowl 4 times. You know, he was a bad boy. He definitely was a bad boy. He was a baller. He was a baller. He mentioned Randy Moss. He mentioned Terrell Owens. But the one guy he mentioned that I was not expecting, but when you think about it, he's 100% right, and his reasoning is fire. Andre Johnson was an animal. He looked like a small tank running over his opponents. I remember him and this guy named Cortland Finnegan, who was like Steph Curry light before Steph Curry. They got into a fight, and they were grabbing, and he was throwing Cortland. Cortland was trying to throw him, but he was too big. And they were just throwing each other all over the field, and I was like, dang, they getting into it. But Andre Johnson was a monster at wide receiver, man. He looked like a linebacker almost. He was like the Terrell Owens, the A.J. Brown that you see now, you know, the DJ Metcalf. He was like that mold of giganto freak. And so, I mean, but he was tough, man. And what Mike Irvin said that I have to give him credit for, he said, my man was putting up great numbers and didn't have a Hall of Fame quarterback. Most of the people that are in the Hall of Fame had at least sometimes, had Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Jerry Rice had Joe Montana. I think he had Steve Young at times. Terrell Owens had Steve Young. He had Donovan McNabb. He had Tony Romo. Like, he had some good quarterbacks throwing him the ball at times. I mean, Terrell Owens was a monster no matter who was throwing it to him, but he didn't always have. But Andre Johnson never had a great quarterback throwing him the ball, and he still was a great wide receiver. So you got to give him his credit there. I mean, that's simply amazing. It's impeccable. So you got to give him that credit there. On your way out, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Please make sure you hit that notification bell. Please make sure you comment, because guess what? Ball is life, and I guarantee you I will respond. And please hang on towards the end of this video for some other suggested videos that we know you will love. I'm very thankful for you listening. I'm very thankful that you lasted this long. Very appreciative, very humble. Much love.
That somehow you never get over leaving